This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and today Matt Allen's off, so I'm your KTAR car guy. Bumper to Bumper Radio is heard every Saturday from 11 to noon, and at Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers, and I encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text your questions to 411-923. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, car tip of the week. We're going to have one of those for you. Open phones, a text, of course. And, I've been saying we because I'm not here all by myself. I've got Glenn from Good Works Auto Repair. He's just down the way from my shop. He's at basically the 101 in Broadway. Good to have you here, Glenn. And you've been doing auto repair for how long?
About 44 years.
44 years? Okay. Well, hopefully you got it figured out then.
I think so. I got kind of a clue.
I've got 25. Between his 44 and my 25, we are going to be able to help you with your car at 602-277-5827. And, now that it's hot, I haven't hardly had an air condition repair in my shop in the month of May. And that's so different because the weather's been so much cooler. And the other day we had one roll in, and sure enough, I thought, what are the most common repairs that we do? And I'm not sure what the most common repairs are in your shop. But for me, this one happened to be, there was a manifold hose that was leaking, so it was real low on refrigerant, so we replaced the hose. We did an evacuate and recharge, filled it full of Freon, and tapped him on the back and sent him on his way, and away she went. Is that your experience, or what's your most common repair?
I would say that is one of the more common ones. Also just Schrader valves, the Schrader ports where you fill and extrapolate the refrigerant from the systems. Those tend to leak after a period of years sometimes, or the compressors themselves, or sometimes it's a clutch coil.
For sure. So an air-conditioned system in your vehicle basically is it has refrigerant, which is a gas or vapor, and there's a compressor that pumps it up, and then we change the pressure and we make it cold and blow some air across it. So there's air-conditioned problems that are refrigerant-related, and then there's air-conditioned problems that are air-related, so the flow of air. And the other thing that comes up, and you see this happen when your air conditioner only works on one speed.
Right.
Speed 3 or 4, whatever it is.
Yep.
Real common problem. So there's a blower motor resistor. There's basically like a little squirrel cage on the inside of your dashboard that moves air across the cold coil and puts it out your vents. And then there's a series of electric motors that go out which vents you tell it to. So there's a button for up on the dashboard for the defrost. There's a button for the dashboard blowing right at you. There's a button to make it come down to you on the floorboard. So there's airflow issues. When I was thinking about that's kind of a common repair too.
Yeah, those little motors that move the ducts back and forth and make them blow where you want them to, or the hot and cold. And when those suckers stick and they don't want to move the air or close off the heat from coming in from the outside, or the hot air coming off of the heater core, it starts blending it, and you wonder why the heck you got your air conditioner on cold and it's not cold. Sometimes those blender motors go out. We probably do 40 or 50 of those a year at least.
It's pretty common. I got one bad in my car, and I know it because when I get in it blows hot, scalding hot air comes out at me, and I give the dashboard a whack, and then it goes to cool, But my car's the last car to get in the shop, so I'll probably live with it all summer long.
Yeah, that's oftentimes the case,
So, and some of those little motors are easy to get to, and some of those motors are buried deep in your dashboard.
Yeah, some of them can be 4 or 5 hours of labor. You got to tear the whole dash apart, and why they didn't engineer them differently, I don't know. But it's frustrating for the consumer because they're going to pay someone 4 or 5 hours to literally dismantle their dash to get at those little motors.
And so you're driving around, and you got to go to the shop, and so you've got an air conditioning problem in your vehicle, and we're talking about some of the common repairs. But we want you to feel comfortable with, hey, I know I got a problem and I got to get it taken care of. You certainly, if it's May and it's kind of getting a little hot, June 1 today, so it's going to get real hot. Probably better now than, third week of June. Then you got the 265 system going on, 2 windows, 65 miles an hour. But, there's different stages of air-conditioned service, Glenn. You said you got kind of a basic one where you just check pressures and...
Yeah, we check the pressures, we check the blower. We check the condensing fan, which we haven't talked about yet. But the condensing fan, most vehicles have two separate fans that blow or suck air through the radiator and the condenser, which sits in front of it. Well, the condenser is related to the AC system. So if that fan or those fans aren't running either at the right speed that they're supposed to run it, which can be a relay problem or something internally in the fan motor, or one isn't working at all, a lot of people come in and complain, well, when I'm going down the road, it's ice cold, but as soon as I stop and I go to grab a hamburger at McDonald's, I'm sitting there for 5 minutes, the temperatures go the system feels like it's shut off. It's still blowing, but it starts blowing hot air. And 9 times out of 10, it's because that condensing fan motor isn't working.
And that's one you could almost do a little guesswork, for yourself, like he's saying. You're going down the freeway, air conditioning's nice and cold, sit at a stoplight for more than, a minute, and all of a sudden it just starts, the temperature it's not so cold and it deteriorates. Get moving again, it gets cold again, because you're getting airflow across the condenser just when the vehicle's moving, but when the vehicle's not moving, you've got to rely on those fans.
Yep.
So we talked about hoses are a repair issue. And hoses leaking, you lose refrigerant, the system won't work right. Condenser fans not running, and a lot of those condenser fans are 2-speed now or variable speed. So, you can have that be a problem. The other thing that comes up, we were talking a little bit about the blower fan, the actual air that moves out of the dashboard.
Right.
And we see that come up a lot where you go into the auto shop and you say, hey, my air conditioning's not working. They're going to ask you a series of questions. Are you not feeling airflow? Are you feeling airflow? Does the air blow hot? Or does it blow like regular ambient air? Or does it blow semi-cool? So not having any airflow, that's one problem. Not having it blow cool is another problem. So blower fans, basically that squirrel cage. And the other one that's surprising to me, someone will come in and their air condition just doesn't feel like it's got pop to it. And it's really weak. And so, you throw the gauges on it, check the pressures. Man, everything's money on, but it's still just not that great. And you find out the cabin filter's got about 2 years worth of landscaping material on it.
5 years. Looks like the rats made a nest in it, and actually we've run across this several times in some certain products. We're actually did a special with Gary Harper from Channel 3, rodents making nests in your air conditioning ducts, And so it was pretty interesting episode, and we showed him some of the rodents that had left their little packages there for and the smell, of course, is extra special, and they chew up the paper element in there and make a nest out of it.
The thing about cabin filters, and rats are not my favorite. The thing about cabin filters, your air condition cools in 2 functions. We make cold air, and it's blown at you, but that actual velocity of air is what cools you. That's why you got ceiling fans in your home. They don't actually change the temperature in the room, but they move air, and you get a secondary cooling effect, and that's from the moisture on your skin. We just naturally, there's always a little bit of moisture there, and when that air hits, you get that evaporation rate. It's kind of that same feeling of cold you feel when you get out of the swimming pool or get out of the shower.
Right.
The air hits you. So that's, with the cabin filter, when it's starting to plug off, you're not getting a good flow of air. So, high speed is only putting out half of what's there.
Right, and it overcools the coil in there. And then it shuts the compressor off because it's building up too much head pressure on the compressor. So it's short cycling, and then you're not getting even the temperatures. Another common complaint is like when you've got dual air conditioner for the passenger and for the driver, it's cool on one side and it's warm on the other. What the heck's going on? And most of the time, the problem is actually a low charge in the system.
Yeah, pretty common for the low charge. And then also, the other problem we're talking about, the electric motor. So the electric motor is direct air, from up to the dashboard, up by the windshield up there for the defroster, out the dashboard, down the floor, or mixes. The other thing it does, there's a blend door motor that mixes hot air and cool air to get you the right temperature that you're asking for. And sometimes those can go bad, and that's why they're going to ask you at the shop, are you feeling hot air coming out of the vents? Are you feeling just regular ambient air, the temperature outside? Or are you feeling, semi-cool air coming out of the vents? Because that's going to help point them in the direction, are we dealing with a refrigerant issue? Are we dealing with a blower fan issue, or are we dealing with one of these electric motors? And some of these dashboards have 6 motors in them to do all the things that it does,
right,
to move the air, to the dash, to move his and her air, those kind of things. So anyhow, when we come back, we've got wide open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. We'll be right back. Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Honesty and integrity. It's the only option. Hi, Spencer Doucet for H&I Automotive. H is for honesty, and I is for integrity. We built our business on these 2 principles. We opened our first shop in Mesa in 2009, and with the support from our loyal customers, we've now grown to a second state-of-the-art location in Gilbert. 2 locations, same principles. Quality service at a great value, backed by an industry-leading 60-month, 60,000-mile parts and labor warranty. Check us out at HandIautomotive.com.
There is nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock here for Kurt's Auto Repair. I brought my nephew and general manager, Jeff Rock, to help spread the word.
Thanks, Pops. Yep, the more things change, the more they stay the same at Kurt's. Family owned and operated, our ASE Master Techs and family ethics have earned us a perfect Better Business Bureau record for over 30 years. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue in Bell, or online at mycarhurts.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic, if your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is off this weekend doing some vacationing and that kind of thing. So I've got Glenn from Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe in here to help you with your car. And Smashing Pumpkins, I almost didn't want to do the show. I just want to listen to the music.
We just want to smash pumpkins, man.
I know. Did you ever smash pumpkins?
Yes. My own, though. I didn't go to the neighbor's house and smash theirs. But when Halloween was over, yeah, we had fun smashing pumpkins.
I smashed pumpkins. I was a bad boy. I smashed a lot of pumpkins. I don't even think kids do that anymore.
We used to put M80s inside of them and blow them up. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's mixed pyro with just straight up, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, or put a pipe bomb in there, something,
For sure. Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. We've got Alan and Tom and Bob and more open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And we are going to go with Alan in Phoenix. He's got a 1992 Toyota pickup. Get a little help there, Bryce, on line 1. Welcome to Bumper. Alan, how can we help you with your Toyota pickup? Hey, Alan, are you with us? All right. Maybe not. We had to switch studios here last minute today, so we were juggling a little bit, but maybe. Alan, are you with us? Nope. One of those things that, doesn't come up much anymore, Glenn, you're talking, at the break with the air condition thing,
right?
Was we're talking about the blower fan going bad and the electric motors going bad. In the old days, they used vacuum to make that happen.
Yeah, they had vacuum dash pots, and then they'd use the engine vacuum to open and close those, and they had linkage rods that were connected to the duct doors, and they'd open and close things to whatever degree that you needed the vacuum to open and hold it at a certain position. And so you could have all kinds of issues with the old lines cracking and breaking, or the vacuum amplifiers, what they call it. It was like a vacuum box that held a certain amount of vacuum in it, and it would either get detached or it would crack and break, and then you wouldn't have any vacuum, and you go to turn on the air conditioner, move something around, and nothing would happen. And You had to do a whole lot of investigating to find out where the problem was.
And those are, I mean, they still, even like in the early 2000s, those were still in the vehicle. So, you tromp down on the gas and the air quits blowing out of the vents on the dashboard, and you can hear it blowing up by the windshield.
Yep, some manufacturers still, they used a dual system. They had some electric motors, and they were still using vacuum for some of them. It was kind of different, but
one of those things for sure. Well, we're going to go with Alan in Phoenix. He's got a 1992 Toyota pickup truck. How can we help you, Alan? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good.
I have the 92 Toyota pickup truck I have has a 22 RE motor, and I can drive all day long on the city streets, stop and go traffic, fine. But if I get about 30 miles on the freeway, I start overheating.
Yes. Now, for me, Glenn, I'm going kind of the direction of airflow. We've got a fan clutch up
I'm
there.
thinking if he's got a fan clutch that's not operating properly. Have you had someone check that, or have you looked into that yourself?
I did the check myself. The fan clutch seems to be fine. I did the test where you try and stop it when it's running with the newspaper.
Right.
Once in a while, I've seen them go bad where you turn the car off and the fan clutch is still spinning for like the next 15 minutes.
Right.
That's a good indicator.
Especially once they're warm, that thing should be in full engagement. And
okay.
Or you may have a partially plugged radiator. You need to probably have someone check and get a measurement. Your water or coolant temperature should drop about 30% from the inlet back into the motor again. And if it's not getting adequately cooled, if you have an original equipment radiator in there,
yes, I believe it is the original radiator.
Okay. Well, one of the things that comes up for me is that when you're talking about airflow issues, some of these cars, they got these little air dams underneath them, or they got foam between the condenser and the radiator, whatever it may be, and some of that stuff disappears between the repairs over the years. And so I think look at all that stuff. Is there anything missing? Little plastic shields, cars like that. So anyway.
Yes. As far as the condenser unit, I went as far as removing the AC to get everything out from in front of the radiator to get the best flow as possible.
Great. Thanks so much for the call, Alan. We're going to go with Tom in Gilbert. He's got a 2006 Toyota Tacoma. This must be Toyota Tacoma Day. How can we help you, Tom? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Maybe not there. Let's go to 2 there.
About 15 months ago, the shop I was going to talked me into flushing the transmission, and he put Valvoline back in it instead of Toyota. How much damage is that going to do, and what should I do about it?
There's differing opinions on that, as far as that goes. I don't think it's doing any damage. I just personally at my shop we would go ahead and use the Toyota WS fluid. Literally we stock 47 different fluids at our shop. There are some like the Valvolines, like the multi-fill. Are you having any negative symptoms from that at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, it's up to you if how you like to roll, but for me, I would prefer to have the Toyota fluid in there. But if you're not having any issues or any symptoms, maybe let's just run it. Any thoughts from you on that, Glenn?
Well, there's a lot of companies that build everything to the original manufacturer specs, so it's more about not the brand necessarily, but the specifications of that fluid, because Valvoline actually makes 2 or 3 different kinds of, actually 4 or 5 different kinds of transmission fluids. So providing they use the WS that Dave referred to a minute ago, you're going to be fine.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. So, and Glenn and I were having some conversation about that before the show, and there is different fluids, and which one does it matter, which one is it important, that kind of thing. I know that we deal with a lot of weird diagnostic issues, and we go back and we track it back to find out the wrong fluid was used, and sometimes that can cause issues for sure. So thanks so much for the call, 602-277-5827. We've got Bob and Robert and more open lines. And, it's that time of year, Glenn, where stuff is going to start breaking, And, batteries comes up this time of year. How many batteries do you do in the month of June versus in the month of December?
Yeah, and even at the end of the season, sometimes August and September can be battery heavy as far as sales, too, because they've gone through that hot summer with the air conditioner and the fans running and the blowers running and everything. And the batteries just prove that they've met their weak point and they need to be replaced.
Yeah, no, batteries definitely being a thing. But the other thing, too, that, the phone call we got about the cooling system, nothing, the guy with the overheating Toyota, nothing wrecks a car quicker than overheating an engine. And people always think, oh, yeah, hey, the gauge never got hot. I didn't get it that hot. The gauges don't work when the car's got a massive coolant leak. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And do you trust your gauges, that kind of thing. But we've seen that. I don't know how many times we've got a car and it's basically the motor's melted down, and they say the gauge never got that hot.
Right.
And so
it depends on where the switch actually is that's measuring it, because sometimes once you get below a certain level, the coolant's not even hitting it to indicate, because it's measuring the water temperature. So if the coolant isn't even hitting the gauge anymore, it may not show you that the thing's off the charts.
Yeah, so cooling comes up. So certainly there's cooling for your engine, and there's cooling for your passenger compartment. Hey, Glenn, the other thing you brought up before the show was this new refrigerant. 1234YF.
Yeah, the 2013 and newer vehicles, 2014s and up for sure, are using this new refrigerant, and it is ungodly expensive. It's the most expensive refrigerant that I've seen in the 44 years. R12 was cheap. R134, actually, R12 got real expensive at the end when they banned its production, I think, in the year 1999. And so the price went up to as much as $1,500 for a 30-pound cylinder.
Wow, yeah. So the price of air condition service is that. And the other thing, too, when we're talking about air conditioning, and this is sometimes a frustration for people, your air condition is underperforming. It's getting warm out. You take it into the shop. They maybe spend $100, $200, $300 to get a service. They get this car serviced. They drive away. Everything is nice and cold, and it feels great, and they're super excited about it. And then a week later, it's blowing warm again. And if they don't know better, they haven't been through this experience, they're going to come back to the auto shop. I just gave you $300 or $200 to fix my air conditioner, and here it is blowing warm. And so, people don't realize it's a two-step, sometimes, repair process. So when you come in, we're going to see the system's low. We're going to evacuate it. We're going to recharge it. If we don't see visible leaks and our sniffers don't pick up on any leaks, we're going to put a leak detection dye in there.
Right. Manufacturers used to put leak detection dye in every vehicle, and they've gotten away from that in the last 5 or 6 years, which I think is pretty ridiculous. They're trying to save a couple pennies, but at the end of the day, that dye helps us to see where the leaks are and fix the system the first time around.
When we come back, we got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. Listen to Bumper Radio.
I listened regularly to Bumper Radio and knew that they only referred the best shops. So when my beloved 2007 Honda Accord was hit recently, I simply went to bumpertobumperradio.com. Hi, this is Sarah from North Phoenix. Even though it was not the closest shop to my home, I chose Campus Auto Body Salon. I did my homework. I liked that they've been in business since 1973 and was impressed with their outstanding customer reviews. Every customer was completely satisfied. I even went to 2 other non-Bumper to Bumper Radio shops first. Then I went to Campus Auto Body Salon. Wow, what a difference. I met with the owner, Leo Petrozella. He was easy to talk to, gave me an initial estimate right on the spot, and handled all of the negotiations with the insurance company. Leo communicated with me throughout the repair process, and I could not have been more pleased with the outcome. The paint match, fit, and finish exceeded my expectations. If you've been in an accident, your first and only call should be to Campus Auto Body Salon.
Life's good news often comes with a little bad news, right? Hi, Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission and co-host of Bumper to Bumper Radio. Car repair seems to follow that same trend. The good news, transmissions are lasting twice as long as they used to. The bad news, they can cost as much as $1,000 more than you might remember. So if you're going to have to spend some money on a new transmission, you want to be sure you really need it. And if you do, that it's done right at a fair price. For over 45 years, Tri-City Transmission has built a reputation for having the experience and expertise to properly diagnose and repair your transmission without costly overhaul or replacement. If we do have to recommend a major transmission repair, you can be assured you're getting an honest recommendation and a job done right at a fair price. I guarantee it. Check us out online at TriCityTransmission.com. That's TriCityTransmission.com. TriCityTransmission.com.
Arizona's news station.
KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic. Now.
KTAR News Time, it's 11:30. I'm Amy Pohl. KTAR Eyes on the Economy. Arizona's Senator Martha McSally is not on board with the president's plan to place 5% tariffs on Mexican goods.
Senator Martha McSally says she supports the president's efforts to stop unchecked illegal immigration, but she says she does not support the tariffs. In a statement sent to KTAR, she writes the tariffs will harm our economy and be passed on to Arizona's small businesses and families. She adds there is no doubt there is a crisis at the border and that Congress must do its job to pass legislation to close loopholes that are encouraging migrants to come to the U.S. in massive numbers. Martha Maurer, KTAR News.
KTAR Eyes on Education. New data shows Arizona is still toward the bottom nationally for teacher pay despite the recent raises. Arizona ranks 49th in the country for elementary school teacher pay and 48th for high school. And now for a check on traffic. Here's Mike Daniels live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Well, thank you, Amy. Loop 101 westbound at 7th Avenue. Overturned vehicle blocking 2 right lanes. DPS on scene. Fix some minor delays there. And right down the freeway, we have a multi-vehicle crash blocking 2 right lanes on the Loop 101 westbound at 19th Avenue. DPS and fire on scene. Extrication involved. Definitely expect some delays in this area. This traffic report brought to you by Renters Warehouse, your one-stop shop to research, buy, lease, manage, and sell single-family rental properties. Renters Warehouse. List, rent, manage, all under one roof. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
KTAR weather for the Valley. Today's forecast, it's 90 degrees in Glendale, sunny with a high of 98. Tonight, clear and breezy with a low of 69. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 96. Then at night, clear with a low of 68. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. I'm Amy Pohl on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
The radio is back in the house. It's just called a smart speaker now.
Playing the KTAR live stream.
Listen to Arizona's morning news on your smart speaker before you head to the office. KTAR News, 92.3 FM, Arizona's news station.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Hi, Kevin Rowe from I-17 Collision in Phoenix. If the bad news is you've had an accident, the good news is that with one easy click on bumpertobumperradio.com, you have the best collision, body, and paint shops to help you get back on the road quickly, safely, and with a repair you can trust.
Dave Lindgren here from First Class Auto Body in Scottsdale. Don't be fooled. Some insurance companies try to convince you that you must use their approved shops for your repairs. Not true. Arizona law allows you to choose the facility that's right for you.
And I'm Leo Petrozello from Campus Body Salon in Tempe. Having an accident is stressful enough. Dealing with the repair process shouldn't be. Appearance is important, but it's critical that structural integrity and safety are top priority.
3 convenient locations and one united team. With almost 120 years of experience and expertise between us, we are solely focused on taking care of you while working with your insurance company. The Collision Team at bumpertobumperradio.com.
Summer is here, and we're celebrating with Bunker to Bunker's June Jamble at the iconic Mountain Shadows Resort and Short Course. Saturday, June 22nd, Bunker's famous two-man scramble returns to support Saving Amy with a fantastic day of golf, followed by fantastic pig roast party on the patio. Golf lunch prizes and a bounce-back coupon for another round of golf, all included for just $80. And make it a stay-and-play weekend with special $109 room rates. Space is limited. Register today at bunkergolf.com. Who
can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is off, doing a little bit of vacation so I've got Glenn from Good Works Auto Repair you're kind of on the border at Tempe and Mesa.
I am right on the canal, man. I'm on the freeway side of the canal, which divides the two cities of Tempe and Mesa on Broadway Road. There,
right on the border. You're a tweener.
That's
for
it,
sure.
man.
If you're listening to this show and it's your first time tuning in to Bumper to Bumper Radio, you're saying, hey, what are these guys talking about? Talking about car stuff, and no one likes necessarily the topic of car repair. You're like, oh, I got to go get my car fixed. But we help put you in the know about that, so that's what the radio show is designed to do. The other thing that Bumper to Bumper Radio is, there's a website, bumpertobumperradio.com. We're going to find shops like Glenn's Shop from Good Works Auto Repair. These are shops that Matt and I can just carte blanche refer you to. People always say, hey, I need a good mechanic. Hey, go to that website. We even got a text here. They're saying, hey, I'm looking for a BMW shop. I'm not sure what part of town they're in, but Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service, they do a lot of BMW work. I know Glenn at Good Works, you guys are certainly capable of working on BMWs. A couple other shops I wanted to highlight is Accurate Automotive. They're in Mesa, and they do a great job, and it's a very family-type environment. All the shops you find at Bumper to Bumper Radio, the owner of the business is on premise a good majority of the time, so if there's an issue, you can go there. Sometimes when you're dealing with these places, let's just say there is a problem. You got to call this guy, he's got to call that guy, he's got to take it up the chain to go this guy. You're like, can I just talk to somebody to help me with the problem? And it becomes such an issue. So we like the presence of the owner right there on staff or on premise if there is an issue. So bumpertobumperradio.com. We've got Robert in Avondale that we're going to get here in a minute, but we got open lines at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. Whether you've got an air condition problem, a brake problem, a door trim problem, a car stereo problem, a power antenna problem, satellite radio I can't help you with, but most of it I can take care of. 602-277-5827. You can also text it 411-923. Glenn, I've got a text here from a guy. He's got a 2010 Mercedes ML350, roughly 100,000 miles on it. And when he went to his auto repair shop, they said he needs upper and lower control arm bushings. They're torn. What happens if I don't replace them? Do I need to do it now? Is it necessary to replace them? He wants $4,000, so you can understand he's hesitant to do this repair. Glenn, what's your advice for that customer?
Well, first and foremost, I can say from my experience in the Euro world that the control arms on these vehicles are multiple. Like you get a Lexus, it's not like a Toyota. They're using multiple control arms on them. And when the bushings go, they cost a lot more money than a conventional vehicle. The parts are extremely expensive, and sometimes they're not even in stock. And I can tell you that we had a Jaguar a few years ago, and it was going to be like $3,000 to replace all the bushings that were blown on the thing. So it doesn't sound maybe like it's more expensive than it might be, depending on the type, again, of the vehicle and the expense of the actual parts, and it's a lot of labor to put them in, and of course it has to be aligned. So some of the clues, if you're hearing a banging, knocking noise when you're hearing when you're going over speed bumps or something like that, or you notice that there's a thumping noise when you're hitting your brakes and releasing them at even slow speeds, or have someone stand outside the vehicle and watch if your tires are moving forward and backward upon acceleration and stopping, those bushings need to be replaced because you're throwing your wheels out of alignment, and they can affect your braking distance and keeping your car aligned on a hard stop.
And this is one of those things where, they're torn. This is one of those things you can actually see. If you've got a regular trusted shop that you work with, they can actually put the car up in the air, show you the bushings so that you can kind of see what torn would look like. Because sometimes I think people get a little overzealous. They see a little weather crack and they're like, oh my gosh, things are falling apart. That's going to help you budget. If this is a $3,000 or $4,000 repair, you really, really do want to know what your time frame is. How soon do I need to do with this? So ask them those questions. Hey, can you show me so I can know the sense of urgency of what it's going to take to do this, when I need to do it? Is this something I can budget for, do 6 months from now, that kind of thing. So we're going to go with Robert in Avondale. He's got a 2016 Hyundai Tucson. Hey, Robert, how can we help you with your Tucson?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to ask, I think you mentioned it earlier about a blend door actuator, but my air conditioner, it blows cold, but when I turn the knob to make it warmer, it does not move at all. It just keeps blowing cold air.
Well, if you're in Arizona, that's not a problem.
Right.
But every now and then you got to warm it up a bit. Go ahead.
Well, essentially two things can cause that problem. It's either the control head itself is not commanding that motor to move and open and close the duct that you're asking it to actuate, or the motor itself is bad. It's 2016. That sounds a little bit crazy.
Pretty new.
That one would be worn out by then, but there are defective parts that are installed even in brand new vehicles that may prematurely fail. So I'd have someone look at it. They can look at it with the scan tool and see if the control head is actually commanding that door motor to move. And if it's commanding it and it's not moving, you're probably going to be in for having that repaired and replaced.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things that's in your bay, Glenn. You're plugged into it with your scanner. You can actually actuate that motor to move that. So there's mode doors in the dashboard. Mode doors are going to be the doors that move the airflow from the windshield to the dashboard to the floor. That's a mode door. And then what he's talking about is going to be a blend door. It's going to blend the hot and the cold air to give him the temperature he wants. So those are the two, basic types of blend doors there is there. But somebody's going to need to put a scan tool on it and see if they can actuate it, because there's all kinds of control issues. So even a lot of times there's temperature, thermostatic pieces that play into that equation as far as the control goes, for sure.
Absolutely.
602-277-5827. We are going to go, I'm going to pick this one because you're here, Glenn. We're going to go with Mike in Chandler. He's got a 1971 Chevy Chevelle. How can we help you, Mike? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Hey, Mike.
Yes. Hi there.
Hey.
Yeah, my son and I restored and heavily modified a 71 Chevelle. But one of the things we did was put a aluminum radiator that came with the dual electric fans already mounted on it, and I think they're brushless motors.
Right.
And periodically I'll go out in the garage. It could even be the next day after driving the car, or maybe even a week later, and those fans will be running kind of intermittently, very slowly, but you'll hear them just slightly turn on and maybe fluctuate a tiny bit in the electric fans for the radiator, and then shut off. They won't be at full speed or anything. They'll just kind of motor up a little bit and vary in their RPMs and then shut off. And then I don't know if that's we'll go out there. Maybe if not driving the car for 10 days, I have to charge the battery again.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, did you actually put that radiator in and install those fans and everything?
Well, the fans came mounted on the radiator, but I did wire them in. There was little temperature sensors built into the radiator itself with wires coming off of them, and it came with instructions. And I think I did exactly what it said, how to wire them, but yeah, I did the wiring.
For sure. I think, and I was thinking of those, I've done some of those fan conversions, and they thermostat you install into the radiator so that it can come on or come off. So, it could be a problem with the thermostat. He may have wired it wrong where it's getting power when it shouldn't get power. Maybe it's backfeeding from somewhere else, that type of thing.
That's a possibility. There may be some relays involved as well. Maybe those relays aren't completely releasing and they're allowing some energy to seep through there. It's doubtful there's any kind of a capacitor or anything, so I would say I would look into that, see if there's some relays. That if while it's doing that you disconnect a relay, that's probably in line in that system somewhere, and if it stops moving, you may just want to replace the relay and see if that fixes it.
And one of the things, if you look in the package, there's probably a diagram for that system so that you can diagnose it. Anytime you get a wiring diagram, you see what's all involved for these fans to be getting power. And I'm going to look at that. That's going to be the roadmap to know where to start looking. Is there relays in it? What's happening? Do I have a bad thermostat in that thing that's keeping these fans on? Because, you don't want a dead battery every 10 days. That gets a little annoying for sure. So thanks so much for the call, 602-277. And I only picked him because he said it was in 1971. I figured
the old guy here.
The old guy's in here. What year did you start in auto repair?
1974. But that was officially, but I'd been working on cars for several years prior to that. So.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Thanks for the call, Mark. We're going to go with Chuck in Chandler. He's got a 2002 Lexus GS300. How can we help you, Chuck? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks. I got my daughter a Lexus, that GS300, and it needed a brake job because it was chattering. Your wheel would vibrate whenever you hit the brake. So I went to Napa and got their premium rotors and everything, and the pads, the whole brake kit. Checked the calipers, and they moved fine. And everything was fine for about a week, and all of a sudden the wheel's vibrating again. So I went back to Napa, and they gave me, they warranted the rotors. They gave me another pair. I put them on, and they ran fine. And then about a week later, the wheel's vibrating again. The pads looked good when I did it originally. When I first took them off, the pads were wearing fine. I put I got the brake kits to put in them and everything. So what do?
Well, for me, Glenn, I'm thinking, when I repair something, I got to figure out why I'm repairing it, because there's what broke or what's failing and why did it fail.
Right.
That's going to be what we're going to. I was worried if something breaks, is hanging up, cooking it. He said the pads look fine, so that feels a little odd.
Well, I'm thinking that, there's a possibility that depending on the type of road that you're driving on, so if you have a little bit of play in the tie rod ends when you're hitting the brakes, that could cause a little bit of a shake as well. But the only way you're really going to be able to figure out whether those rotors are definitively warped is to get them on a brake lathe, on an on-car brake lathe, and find out whether, you're having an issue with actual problems with the rotors being warped. Otherwise, you've got another problem that you're looking at. But I certainly, after two sets of rotors, it's unlikely that, it's a rotor issue, but there's always that possibility.
Well, the other issue is you said daughter. I don't know how old she is, but, maybe she's a two-footed driver. I mean, these are just some of the things that come to mind. Maybe we're hitting the brakes a little too hard, or something else may be going on. Maybe if you do another set of rotors, maybe you drive it for 2 weeks and see if the same thing happens, because,
that's
could
a good suggestion.
Could just be a driver thing. So anyway. Good luck with that. When we come back, we're going to finish up these phone calls. We've got Kenny in Phoenix and Ruben in Peoria, and it looks like one more coming through. You listen to Bumper Radio.
After a car accident, make your first call the right call to Campus Auto Body Salon. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved, 5-star rated with Yelp, CarWise.com, and A+ rated by the BBB. The best care in collision repair since 1973. Check us out at CampusBodySalon.com.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
That's our closing line, Pops.
I know, Jeff. Just reinforcing that we're full-service auto repair.
At Kurt's Auto Repair, we do it all, including diesel. We have the passion, training, equipment, and expertise for diesel. Our techs are ASE certified for diesel and advanced diesel diagnostics. Toy hauling, horse trailering, off-roading, or work trucking, we've got you covered.
Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's. Check us out at mycarhurts.com.
Summer is here, and we're celebrating with Bunker to Bunker's June Jamble at the iconic Mountain Shadows Resort and Short Course. Saturday, June 22nd, Bunker's famous two-man scramble returns to support Saving Amy with a fantastic day of golf, followed by fantastic pig roast party on the patio. Golf lunch prizes and a bounce-back coupon for another round of golf, all included for just $80. And make it a stay-and-play weekend with special $109 room rates. Space is limited. Register today at bunkergolf.com.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
And the only thing that can make auto repair any more exciting, Van Halen.
Yeah, good old rock and roll in the backseat. I mean,
yes,
on the radio.
On the radio. Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen is off, and we're helping you with your car. Looks like we've got Kenny and maybe time for one more at 602-277-5827. And the text, of course, at 411-923. We're going to go right to Kenny in Phoenix. He's got a 1994 Ford F-250. Kenny, how can we help you? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, I've been having some brake problems. The brake pedal is like bleeding down. I replaced the master cylinder twice. I replaced the booster. I did both calipers and the front brakes, and I haven't touched the back yet. But still, the brake pedal just bleeds down. There's no fluid or anything that I can see.
Okay, so when you did your brakes and did the calipers and the booster and everything, did you get a good bleed on the system, number one? And the second thing is, did you adjust the rear brakes, and how far down is the pedal bleeding?
I did a bench bleed on the master cylinder both times that I put it on, and I have bled the system twice now, all the way around, and I did manually adjust the back brakes up.
Did that help at all when they were adjusted?
It did not.
And you've got no leaks in your wheel cylinders or anything else like that?
No, not that I can see.
Did you say you dealt with the brake booster as well?
Yes, I just replaced the booster and the master cylinder. The first time around, I just did the master cylinder, but the second time around, I did both of them. They're remanufactured ones.
Right. Now, I've seen issues with repeat failures on remanufactured masters. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Glenn.
Occasionally, yes.
You know, that isn't a possibility that I would completely rule out. It's just that when we're talking about a 94, some of the core piles are a little bit rougher, as far as getting a good master cylinder for it. That's one possible thing. I can't think of too many other things that come into play. There's a proportioning valve in there. There's not much more. We don't have any leaks. Everything's... I'm running out of options.
I had one that kind of kicked my butt once, and I can't remember what kind of a vehicle. It wasn't a Ford, though. But up underneath there was another bleed valve up underneath the bed of this truck. And I never saw it, and then I found that there was air in it. Even though I wasn't getting any air out of the back, this thing was up higher than the level of the back wheels and the back axle. And so once I bled that out, the pedal was hard as a brick, and it worked great. So you may want to check and see if there's another bleed valve that exists on this vehicle that you didn't see.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Is that we're just missing a detail. When you think you got it, you're like, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the aha moment, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna go with Brian in Payson. He's got a 2007 Dodge Ram pickup. How can we help you, Brian? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah, hi, guys. I've had a shifting problem for some while. I've got 3/4 ton Ram with the 5.9 Cummins and automatic transmission. The shifting problem is intermittent, and what it likes to do is when I am having the problem, it will rev high before it shifts, and then it'll bang into typically about third gear where it happens. It's usually around the 35-mile-an-hour mark, and but it'll do it through the different gears. It'll hang up. It doesn't want to shift, and then if I'm in that 30 to 35 range, it's downshifting hard, upshifting hard, back and forth. And I'd heard from a couple of guys that it might be the transducer and the shifting module. And thankfully I have access to YouTube. I was able to go in there and replace those parts, replace the filter, adjust the bands, but I continue to have the problem. And the only other thing I've heard is it might be the battery cable. But I just wanted to see if you guys had any other thoughts.
You said you adjusted the bands. Is this the 48 RE or the 68 RFE?
Well, I can't answer that question, but the 48 RE sounds rings more a bell than the 68.
Yeah, I think if it's got bands, you're looking at a 48 RE. So there's a transducer in there. There's a governor solenoid in there. Those are confusing for people to diagnose. Okay, so you really gotta have a scan tool, and you actually have to have a pressure gauge that you screw into the governor port to see if you're.
Let me say something else. I have had it scanned, electronically a couple of times, and nothing could be detected. But I think you just said that something would be screwed into a port. Is that into the transmission itself for diagnosis?
Yeah, correct. And just having it scanned doesn't really tell you anything unless someone's driving it and reading the scanner and the output of it. That's what we call, reading the data versus just looking for codes. So that
they did read it while driving.
Were they a transmission shop?
They were.
Okay.
They still are.
Yeah, right. Have you been back to him at all to look into it more?
No, because I think he was frustrated by it too.
Okay.
That he couldn't detect anything on his scanner.
Yeah, it's really not.
I'm sorry.
It's really not that complicated of a system. It should be. If it's just a typical transducer governor solenoid situation, but someone's going to need to look at it. But there's a governor pressure port that you can tap into to actually see what the pressure is. You can make sure your transducer is right. And a lot of people pull out the gauge like way long into the diagnostic process, but we want to go there quicker in it. If of course we're working with a 48 RE. The 68 RFE doesn't. It still has a pressure sensor, but that one has a solenoid pack. It's a different design. It's different operation. But if you're adjusting bands and stuff like that, that all plays into it. But we want to see. And one of the tests that people forget about, those old ones, you can still manually shift them. Take that shifter and move it and just manually shift that thing from first gear to second gear to third gear. And then I usually have the overdrive button click so it's off, and then I actually push the button to shift it into fourth gear. So that's the way that's going to help me diagnose that, to really see what's going on. You're saying third gear. The possibility exists that we got a mechanical fault in the transmission, so we can control it all, right all day long. But if we're not, if we don't have mechanically the stuff that needs to happen to make sure it's working, but I don't think, the other thing that we're doing is we're assuming we're doing the right repairs all along the way, because that's the thing. People put parts in, do we adjust the band right, that kind of thing. So anyway, we're glad you could join us. Thanks, Glenn, for coming in. If you're looking for a good shop and you're anywhere in the Tempe Mesa area, somewhere by Broadway and the 101, maybe you work near there, GoodWorks Auto Repair. This guy's been fixing cars longer than I've been alive. He's got a great staff, a great facility. They do a wonderful job, and I'm always happy to refer people to GoodWorks Auto Repair. If you're not in that area, if you're looking for a friendly, honest, competent shop, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. We're there. Be sure to join the Bumper to Bumper family on Facebook. From all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, have a safe weekend. Leave the phone in the back seat so you're not tempted to text and drive. We'll see you next week.